Hi everyone, I hope you all had a great week. In this week's report, I'll let you know the mountain lake levels and where the fish were biting. Pete's got another great high country photo to share with us. I spotlight the Cooma Jail, there's the weather, pick of the week, and more. For the first time in months, Lake Eucumbene didn't rise this week. It started and ended the week on 44.7%. Tantangra Dam fell 0.2%, and Lake Jindabyne dropped 0.3%. Slightly better weather this week did bring a few more people to the water, but the winds continued to keep some away. Those who stuck at it caught some nice fish. Living so close to the water's edge, Tiny does a lot of fishing. And he catches a lot of fish, but he doesn't always post them to the Lake Eucumbene Facebook group. But this week, Tiny sent in a short video of him landing one for the smoker with his favourite chunky cheese power bait. Let's see the master in action.
On the cusp.
We saw Renault battling the inclement weather in last week's report. Luckily, conditions eased during the rest of his trip, and he fished in some lovely sunshine. Renault caught lots of fish and released many to swim another day, like this one. In all, Renault kept 5 fish, all caught on Tassies, with a 26-gram bleeding frog the standout. Renault had another fantastic trip, adding no 2 days of the same at Eucumbene, and he wouldn't have it any other way. Thanks for sharing your adventures with us, Renault. Tight lines, mate. Andrew spent some time out and about on his boat around Buckandera during the week. Andrew avoiding the windy weather by sticking to the sheltered bays in the mornings. Andrew landed some lovely fish, including these. In all, Andrew caught 6 fish, 5 on vibes, 1 on a hard body, none on Tassies, and all on flat lines. Andrew also has his boat for sale. It's a 2008 Hornet Trophy, 90 EFI Mercury with 150 hours. Andrew is asking $30,000. If you're interested, send Andrew a message via Facebook Messenger or look for his post on the Lake Eucumbene Facebook group. Stuart caught up with his good old mate Danny during the week and had a great day. Stuart saying the fishing is hotting up, with the fish finally looking to feed on the surface. The pair landing some great fish on the fly. Stuart adding he hoped the lake didn't drop too much over the next few weeks, now the fishing is improving. Thanks for sharing your day with us, Stuart. Ron and Charlie spent some time in the high country last weekend and had a great time. Charlie landing this big 64cm brown on a 4-pound leader near some rocks around Rushies. The fish caught on worms. Ron adding it was great to see his life mate so happy. They landed 3 other rainbows, all on worms. They didn't get a touch on powerbait. Ron mentioned that a nearby Cooma local caught a 4-pound fish on a mud-eye with a fisherman not using a float, rather a sinker, and casting it out past the grass. Ron and Charlie adding they are learning so much all the time and just love getting to their favourite lake. Later in the day the wind picked up, so they packed up and headed for home and the smoker. Charlie offering this great recipe to brine the trout in. 2 litres of pineapple juice, put in a spud and add salt. Add a couple of cups of brown sugar and water till they're covered. 12 hours later, ready to smoke, 75 degrees for 2.5 hours. And as they say, the photo tells the story. Thanks for sharing with us, and I hope you get back up for another visit really soon. Bob fished at O'Neill's last weekend and landed this nice brown on worms. Bob said he also tried crickets, but none were touched. Bob adding the wind was pretty constant and there were whitecaps around Frying Pan. If you look at the pic on the right, you'll see Skippy. Bob saying the little fella was doing some body surfing before dropping by their spot. Great report, Bob, and thanks for posting. Jack spent Friday afternoon down at Seven Gates and caught this nice brown on worms. Great catch, Jack. We see a lot of Tiny and Julie in these reports. They live in Angler's Reach and get down to the water as often as they can. whether they catch a fish or they don't. That's never the issue. They just love living in the mountains, the ever-changing scenery and weather, sunshine or snow, even the bloody Eucumbene wind. They cherish and love their beautiful home, and we definitely don't blame them for that. Keep living your dream, Tiny and Julie. This week, Pete took a trip up towards Mount Selwyn and snapped this great pic of Tabletop Mountain. Tabletop Mountain is 1,784 metres above sea level and is located to the south of Kiandra in the Kosciuszko National Park. The Tabletop Mountain area has a number of interesting features, including 9 Mile diggings, 4 Mile and Broken Dam huts, and Tabletop Mountain itself. There's a great marked trail for the more adventurous called the Kiandra Tabletop Mountain Trail. Originally, the trail was used for gold diggers in the 1860s and is one of the oldest routes in the area. I might have more on the trail in a future report. This week I spotlight the Cooma Jail, today known as the Cooma Correctional Centre. Construction of the Cooma Jail commenced in 1870 from local granite which was quarried in from the hill where it now stands. The centre commenced operations on the 1st of November 1873 with 31 cells. In 1876 it was reduced to a police jail and then a temporary lunatic asylum in 1877. The centre closed temporarily in the early 1900s. The jail reopened in 1957 and from then until 1984 it operated as the world's only prison specifically for detaining men convicted of homosexual offences. Today, Cooma Correctional Centre is a minimum to medium security prison for males held in protective custody, such as former police officers, prison officers, and other high-profile inmates who would be at risk in the general prison system, making it a significant site for notable incarcerations in Australian history. Some notable inmates of the Cooma Jail in more recent times include former Labor Minister Eddie Obeid, former Auburn Deputy Mayor Salim Mahaja, former New South Wales Detective Roger Rogerson, and former NRL star Jared Hayne. There are even some reports that Ned Kelly did a short stint at Cooma. Today, the centre accommodates 160 inmates. There are approximately 53 staff, consisting of 31 custodial officers, 9 overseers, and 13 support staff. Adjacent to the Correctional Centre is the Corrective Services New South Wales Museum. This showcases the history of New South Wales corrections since 1788. This is a wonderful museum, and if you haven't been to it before, I'd highly recommend it on your next visit to Cooma. A fairly settled week of weather ahead for Lake Eucumbene, with temperatures ranging from 28 degrees on Thursday to a cooler 19 degrees on Monday. Rain is forecast for Friday, with up to 10 millimetres possible. A bit of a step back in time, with Wayne posting this pic of him taken 14 years ago at Braemar Bay. Wayne was all set to land dinner, complete with wine in hand. Well, I can't say I've tried wine down by the water, Wayne, but I'm guilty of plenty of beers. Wayne added he hasn't been back since. Well, it's definitely time for another trip, Wayne. If you watched last week's video, you'll know Lake Eucumbene has its very own Stormboy, also known as Tiny Egan. Living just 400 metres from the lake, Stormboy can wander the banks as the lake rises and falls, or after storms have passed, and scatter old stuff against the shoreline. Stormboy finding this bubble float and pondered the question, how long has it been bobbing around in the lake? Great question, Stormboy, and I know my dad and I lost many of these over the years. If it belongs to you and you can convince Stormboy it's yours, he'll give it back, and he'll also tell you why fishing is a serious business. Look forward to seeing more of your old stuff finds, Stormboy. Ricky was back at his favourite lake during the week, and while the weather was still a little windy, it was an improvement on last week. Ricky was fishing and exploring Middling Bank and Frying Pan, and as always, Ricky took his drone up with him and took some great videos. Here's just a few snippets I've put together from them. We always love seeing your videos, Ricky. They give a different and unique perspective on just how vast and beautiful the lake is. Thanks for sharing. Phil posted this glorious pic to the Lake Eucumbene Facebook group during the week. It was taken back in March last year, looking across Illawong Bay at Angler's Reach. What a cracking sunset, Phil. Thanks for sharing with us, mate. We've had some lovely photos posted this week, and I've chosen this slightly unusual one, taken from a drone by Ricky Long, as pick of the week. Ricky was up at Frying Pan last Tuesday and commented just how nice and clear the water was. It's a great capture, Ricky. Thanks for sharing. And don't forget, if you've got some great pics from around the lake or region, post them to the Lake Eucumbene Facebook group and you might see them here in a future report. Not a lot of words needed to appreciate this week's fishing meme. Fishing has no age limit. And how very, very true. Tight lines, everyone. Well, that's a report for this week. Hope you found it useful. And as always, happy to take on any feedback or suggestions. And don't forget, if you're looking for more information on Lake Eucumbene, check out the social media channels. There's the website, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And please don't forget to like and subscribe, and you'll be notified as soon as I put new videos up. Have a great week, everyone. Stay safe, tight lines, and bye for now.